My name is Ryan Jones, and this is my presentation for healthcare policy, law, and ethics. I'm going to be going over the movie I Care a Lot. Beyond Good Intentions, the ethical abyss of I Care a Lot. The movie I Care a Lot presents a truckload of ethical and legal issues in the guardianship and healthcare of elderly. The key issues I'll be addressing here are predatory guardianship, which is the exploitation of the legal system to gain control over vulnerable elderly. Informed consent violations, deliberately circumventing patients' rights and autonomies, financial exploitation, or the systemic theft of assets under false pretenses. Systemic failures and what led to this, which is through the courts and the healthcare collusion to enable this abuse. I will not get into every aspect of this film because it's very complex and it becomes dramatized at the end of it for the benefit of Hollywood, obviously. But to start with, the setup. So Marla identifies wealthy targets to exploit. She's a guardian, and she provides guardianship to multiple different elderlies, which she calls her wards. She colludes with very morally compromised doctors to help identify these wealthy targets. Through court manipulation, she uses the doctors to falsify medical documentation and lie in court to force an emergency guardianship, which allows her to take full control. Which moves on to the next part, the total control. Marla then takes every aspect of them, isolating them, selling their assets, and institutionalizing them against their will. In the end, Marla actually ends up targeting the wrong ward, and it gets her entangled with criminals that threaten and attempt to take her scheme down. She chose the wrong person to mess with, pretty much. So, the guardianship system vulnerabilities has a couple of different aspects to this. So the judicial oversight failure, in the movie there's minimal verification of the necessity of guardianship. They require one doctor to meet in court and say that this is necessary, and then they sign off on it. The medical complicity, so Dr. Amos in the movie provides access to potential victims for financial gain. She tells Marla who is a good target for financial gain. And then Marla has care facility kickbacks, so she has financial incentives for unnecessary institutionalization. She has stocks in these institutions. And then in the end, there's inadequate safeguards. There's limited monitoring of guardianship actions and finances, so which basically just lets her go wild with what she can. So, predatory guardianship. Guardians' ethical duties are to act in the ward's best interest, preserve dignity and autonomy, but manage their assets responsibly. Marla did not do this. She forced institutionalization. She isolated people from their family and liquefied their assets for her personal gain. Real-world implications. This could cause elderly trauma and decline, family devastation, and abuse of professional power. Informed consent is very important in healthcare, and a few things that went wrong, violations in this movie, are disclosure manipulation, which would be withholding information about rights and consequences, not giving them the full information before they make a decision. Capacity misrepresentation, so falsifying claims and saying someone isn't at the right decision-making capability. Autonomy elimination, basically taking full control over someone and not letting them have the ability to make decisions for themselves. And forced compliance, using legal authority to override patient choices. Financial exploitation in the movie for how she went about it. She liquefied assets, so selling homes and possessions without their consent. In the movie, she gets guardianship, and then the very next day she is selling someone's home and auctioning off all of her things. Fee generation, excessive charges for unnecessary services. So in the movie, she got back, and instead of charging them for the amount of time she used for court, she adds on time to make it even and charge the person more. And another reason is she had investment in the care facilities, financial stakes, and that's where she would send her wards because she would make money, get kicked back from that. And then just asset mismanagement, just depleting resources through just deliberate maleficence. Deception and manipulation techniques she used in the movie. So she did strategic target selection, identifying wealthy and isolated seniors for her personal gain. She misrepresentation these people in court, so falsified evidence of incapacity, and she did that with doctors' help. She blocked communication, preventing any contact with family or friends, and just completely isolated them. And she forced institutionalization, restricting their freedom to maintain control. So in the movie, the doctor who helps with these targets is Dr. Amos, and she shares medical information with Marla, and that kind of helps Marla pick her potential targets. And this is a HIPAA violation. So without the patient's consent, that's a direct HIPAA violation and can lead to civil fines and prosecution and all that. So in conclusion, this movie is it highlights a very complex ethical landscape. Guardianship abuse reveals deep ethical challenges requiring urgent attention. It highlighted some need for reform. Systemic changes must enhance protections and accountability, and empowerment and awareness, educating families and professionals to help prevent this exploitation and help keep people safe and happy. My references: the movie I Care a Lot in 2020.